my constituents, women and girls, as well as any right-thinking member of society, hope that change is on its way. Madam Speaker, according to UN Women, and we can attest to this, especially in the context from which I speak as Member of Parliament for Clarendon Northern, that when crisis hits, rural women are hit the hardest. And you can imagine this was only intensified by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this is not to say that men are not affected. However, globalcitizens.org states that 75% of unpaid care workers are women and girls. If we are not aware and exercise wisdom, logic, and caution, the same factors that inhibit the acquisition of quality education will likely be the outcomes of this hindrance. That, my colleagues, is a cycle we cannot allow. In my constituency and others like it, the physical and psychosocial requirements for education are often little to none. The lunch money, the transportation, and for some girls, the necessary items so that they don't miss school because of menstruation is often not there. Under this action plan, when economic empowerment is achieved for these women, more families will be in a significantly better position to attain these items because we know that 40% of households in Jamaica are maternal single parents. Now again, we're not ignoring this need for the boys in these areas, but in a society where violence against our women and girls is so very prevalent, these young girls deserve protection while acquiring their education so that they too can access economic empowerment through this action plan when their time comes. The International Labour Organization reports on the gender gap in employment as having more women generally employed in lower quality jobs than men, a difference of over 25%. Now, this really makes you have to go so boom and take off the glasses, because this don't make any sense. With this being the case, how do we ensure that women from Kellits, Anantown, or Cross Hill can secure one of these jobs in the future when she cannot effectively get to and from school? Why? Because the one bus I go left her, and God bless my Seabird taxi if she can fit in it before the adults then push her out of the way and leave her vulnerable to danger. I've been in dialogue with the Transportation Minister about having some sort of early morning or late evening bus system in place to facilitate these students getting to and from school. My final point comes from one word: exposure. And as a diagnostic imaging major, I'm not referring to KVP or MAS, but this word exposure is particularly why I, being from rural Jamaica myself, was able to pursue tertiary education. Madam Speaker, the fact that this action plan seeks to develop such programs, that is swag. Because the women and girls in Clarendon Northern will have the necessary exposure and empowerment to be able to combat their realities that would seek to limit them. I will reaffirm my support for the motion using this quote by Elaine Welteroth. Sometimes being yourself is a radical act. When you exist in spaces that weren't built for you, your authenticity is activism. Thank you, Madam Speaker.